Mata Ji ki jai ho. Today I feel guided to share some memories, some things that I've learned from Mummy Ji, and express my gratitude. I remember having this conversation during her last visit here. I said, Mummy Ji, the fact that you introduced us to Baba, to our Divine Mother, that is the most meritorious deed you could have ever done, or anyone could ever do, is to introduce man to God. And my journey was so smooth. When my mom came from a trip from Brindavan and Puttaparthi, she was completely transformed, visibly transformed. She looked decades younger. Her expression and attitude was more serene. She visibly looked more beautiful. She had more glow on her face. Her skin had become tighter, like visible difference. She had become younger and more satisfied and happy inside of herself. And she told me, Sunil, we have found God. I did not think about it. I did not question it. My mother's word was enough for me. That was it. The rest of the journey was the most beautiful journey I have ever taken in my life. I don't know what my life would be without it. I owe everything to Baba, and for that I owe everything to my mother. Mata Ji ki jai ho. She provided the best of education and best of everything, even if she had to sacrifice her own needs or wants. I came to US because of her. I did not want to come to US. My heart was in India. She insisted that I come for higher education, so I really came for her. My first year in the US was very difficult. I was not liking it. I didn't like my school, college, university, or graduate program, and I couldn't fit in the culture. But one thing kept me here. I said, I don't want to disappoint my mother. And I stayed back. I met Hal Honig at a Sai Center. He was giving a talk on service. But how he, every evening, um, he brings a cart to Remy, a very high-end Italian restaurant in Midtown. I believe 56th and 6th in Manhattan, and takes that food and distributes it to the homeless people. And he had many stories. He was also known as the Sandwich Man. He would take out peanut butter jelly sandwiches along with chocolate chip cookies and a 3x5 card with a message, and give out to homeless people in the street because he felt uncomfortable giving them money. And also, he was like, this is my city. What are they doing here? How could we leave them in such a state? New York was his city. It was his hometown. And he took responsibility. Talking about thought for the day. We should realize that man has not only a mind which conceives thoughts, but also a heart which can put them into practice. Another one, the wise are those who know the self. And we'll do more exploration of that in a separate video, I guess. Mamaji would say, better to have one thing of quality instead of multiple things of no quality. I know our clothes would last forever. I would even have the hand-me-downs from my older siblings. The fabric, which was made in Malaysia back then, was amazing. Would last for decades and still look new and and would outlast some of the lesser quality new clothes. I remember her taking me along as a child when she would go to Chowda Bazaar in Ludhiana, Meena Bazaar, and so many other bazaars. And we would make a trip to different places. She had certain shops. I remember going to a certain dry fruit shop. All they sold was dry fruit. And everything was in very old, rustic container. It was an experience in itself. Slightly dark place. But the men who worked there, they knew their stuff. They would show us, this kaju has come from this place. This is a larger cashew. I would enjoy tasting them and learning about the sizes, the textures, the shape, the flavors. My favorite used to be Nyoze, sort of like larger pine nuts, much more flavor than pine nuts. She introduced me to different experiences, different textures, different taste, but most importantly, she introduced me to quality. That it's okay to pay a little bit more, but get authentic and quality material. Take less. If your budget is low, go within your budget, but consume authentic and material of quality. This shop was much further inside. There were other shops in Chowda Bazaar where you could get this material, but it would not be of the quality that this shop had. They would have a variety of things. They would even show us that, listen, this is what everybody else sells. We have it right here. Now taste it and compare it with something else. A/B testing. And also, she never wasted anything, something I still in the process of learning. Always respectful of money, always respectful of food, always respectful of clothing, and so forth. Respectful of materials. She would say something like, if you respect your clothes will respect you. I didn't really understand, honestly. I still don't iron my clothes, but she used to say, if you wash your clothes and iron your clothes and wear those clothes, they will look good on you. So when you take care of the clothes will take care of you. She gave me confidence, somebody who didn't really have much of a confidence growing up, was very puny. She gave me confidence that I could do it, that I could do it. We were in some way partners in this spiritual journey, even though she was obviously much more older. And in so many ways, she was my guru. So even though my mom was my first guru, she was never afraid of asking me questions. In the later years, I enjoyed my conversations with my mom about once a week, where she would have a question. A spiritual question. Hey, I'm not understanding this quotation of Baba. What does it mean? Or does it mean this? And if it means this, then what does that mean? And what are we supposed to do in our lives? She was very genuine. And that's one of the most important quality, to be genuine. And when you're genuine, everything pours in from there. Everything. The universe opens up when you're authentic, when you're genuine, Be authentic, buy authentic, and live authentically, whatever that is. And I learned so much through her questions because it made me think. It made me think about things that I did not think about because those were not my questions. But because she asked me those questions, I had to reflect on my heart, in my heart, and think in my head. And also learned through that how to explain something that she could understand. And I became a better teacher as a result of it. I learned cooking through her. I did not even learn, I learned cooking through her until I went to college and I didn't like food. Then I was like, okay, I need to start cooking. And just by being around my mom, watching her, I think I was learning. I remember she would make the best kanji. It is a fermented purple carrots with poppy seeds and black salt. She made my favorite dal, maa cholean di dal. And whenever I would come back from college, that train ride, give and take 24 hours from Nagpur to Ludhiana was probably one of the longest rides back home because my heart would flutter, my stomach would flutter because I couldn't get there sooner. I would miss my mom so much. That love, that missing, I don't think I could equate that with anything else. And my mom knew that when I'm coming home, there's only one thing I want to eat, and that is maa cholean ki dal. It was not about how fancy a food was. It was about what my heart wanted. So know what your heart wants. That is more superior to anything else. That experience, that what your heart wants. If anything, there will be some onion, mooli, and achar on the side. Maybe a green chili, but that's about it. That was heaven. There was something about that dal that my mom made. I have not tasted it elsewhere. That has to do with mother's love for her child. What a mother does for her child, nobody can do it. Nobody can do it. My mom is the best mom. Mataji ki jai ho. My mother reminded me of something. We used to go to Krishna temple and Dandiswami temple, and in those temples, especially the Shivji's temple, the inside was made with marble, sangmalmal. And Mamiji, she used to think about, I want sangmalmal in my house. And I was a kid at that time. And I said, Mamiji, I will get you sangmalmal. Did not know, but I had this. So when we got this house made in New Jersey, for some reason, I think back in my head, I knew about it. In the puja room wall, there was this sangmalmal. And when Mamiji came to see it, she said, you remember? You told me that I would get you sangmalmal. And the house number is 15, and her birthday is 15 of September. And she was telling me that that's her blessings, her gift. She's the one who encouraged me and introduced me to reading scriptures. I was too young, I know that, to even read properly. Maybe 7, maybe something like that. I had just begun to read Hindi. And there was a satsang in our house, bhajans in our house, all ladies from Krishna temple. And I believe it was Bhagavatam or Ramayan. Ramayan ka part tha, I don't remember. And she encouraged me that I could read. I could read a page. And it took me a very long time to read a page, but all the ladies were so sweet. They were supportive and encouraging. I remember there was, I don't think if there was a mic maybe, and I got such a thrill. I got such a thrill that I could do it, that her trust in me, that giving me encouragement, giving me opportunities. Small, small things made a huge impact in my life. And she wanting to listen to my point of view, my perspective on Baba's teaching. I learned so much about Baba and his teachings through her. In the early days, in the late 80s, I remember taking trips with her to Puttaparthi in early 90s. She would do everything. She was a dedicated devotee of Baba. She would wake up early in the morning. Sometimes I would do everything with her. But mostly she was a trooper. I remember doing Prabhat Feri, which was going around. Prabhat Feri was going around the temple, the mandir in Puttaparthi, and there was sand around it. And we would hurriedly go around the temple multiple times. And all you could hear was rustling of people's clothes. No one spoke anything. It was dawn. Not even dawn, it was dark. I think it was 4:30 a.m. And my Mamiji would say, when you go around, you're like tying a thread around God. You're coming closer to God. And we knew that Baba was inside the mandir. His home, his room was upstairs in the mandir. It was such a thrill, that knowing that Baba is there upstairs and you are going around and you are tying or you're wrapping an invisible thread around him and coming closer to him. You're binding him in some way. It was such a thrill. Sitting down for bhajans, waiting for darshan, having the darshan. She introducing me to the South Indian food, you know, in an authentic way. We used to have dosas and stuff like that. But really enjoying life through her tastes, through her point of view, and then learning to appreciate my own point of view eventually. I remember she was telling me, she says, oh, this boy from Sri Lanka, he was a beautiful looking young man with curly hair. And there was a buzz in the ashram saying that this is Vivekananda. This is a reincarnation of Vivekananda. My mom introducing me to that, showing me that guy, pointing to that person. And then there was a truck doing seva. And I jumped on the truck. I told my mom, I said, I'm going. And he happened to be in that truck. First, she was apprehensive that where am I going and when am I coming back? I didn't care. As a young person, you don't care. I'm like, yep, I don't know. I'll be back home in the evening, I guess. That boy who was allegedly the reincarnation of Vivekananda, he was there. And he had this ring, very close to this ring, green ring, where Baba had materialized for him. It was such a joy being around him. Bottom line is, listen to the voice of your heart. It is never wrong. Mataji ki jai. Divine Mother is in your heart, is in everyone's heart. Listen to and follow it. It is never wrong. All the courage is there. Everything is there. Mother provides for everything. Self-confidence comes from there. Prosperity comes from there. Health comes from there. Whatever you want in your life, whatever I want in my life is available from that divine source. Jai Mata Di. Mataji ki jai. Mataji ki jai. Love you, Mami Ji. Saira.